Here's something to ask somebody that you're on a date with. Why did you break up with your ex? What happened? You'll be surprised at what it reveals about their character if you want to pay attention. And look, I'm well aware that when you go on a date, you're naturally attracted to the person. You're biologically, physically desperate in a sense that you want to believe everything they say. And it's amazing how often we avoid even asking important questions. The dating experts will tell you, whatever you do, avoid serious topics. Keep it light.
Make jokes. Talk about the food.
But the problem with this is that if you never talk about anything serious, especially serious in that you'll be able to discover who she is, what her values are, if she has a temper, or underneath the pretty facade that she's just on her best behavior. And are you on your best behavior too? Are you both on a date wanting to get the relationship job? You smile and nod and you're agreeable and you avoid any serious topics. It's ridiculous because everyone's eager to see each other's bodies naked, but not their character, not what's underneath. No one seems to be interested in getting under the person's skin in a polite, civil, adult way. How refreshing would it be to actually meet an individual on a date? It just seems to be a bunch of lonely people avoiding the individual, which is the sole reason you go on a date, to find the one among the many. But we're treating everyone like the many. The only way you're going to find out if this particular person, this individual, matches your individuality, that you can single them out and potentially commit to them among all the rest and stop the merry-go-round of dating, is to actually reveal the person. And how do you do that? You speak, you ask questions. There's no topics that are off limit if they're important to you. Don't censor yourself. Be adult, be civil, but communicate everything. Ask the important questions. Why did you break up? And her answers will reveal her values, what's important, what was the breaking point, what was the straw that broke the camel's back. The reason she broke up with the guy might to you seem like nothing, and you think, I can't believe she broke up with this guy after a couple of years because of this. Find out the story behind her. Let us stop approaching the first date or first few dates with a blind optimism where we don't even acknowledge the individual behind the makeup, let alone inquire with questions, dialogue and conversation, intelligently wanting to know who's under the surface. If she says that her ex was an awful and terrible person, ask her to elaborate, sympathetically. Ask her to open up. And if you meet one of these women, and by the way, I've met a lot of these women on dates where they refuse to talk about the past because they will tell you they're above it. They've worked through these situations and they don't want to rehash the past. And even though I insist that, no, I don't want to know details, I want to know about you, what you've learnt. You don't have to tell me any details about your past, but what kind of person are you now? What do you want now? What don't you want anymore? Someone who hides from their past, or when you're asking personal questions, questions that are at the core of relationship compatibility, and this person says,
No.
I'm not going to be open. That is a very bad start to a relationship, not being open. This is the reason why you go on a date, or at least I think you should as an intelligent person who has any kind of self-determining way to be responsible for your life. You go there to talk about every personal issue you can in a friendly, civil, open and trusting way so that you don't waste time. You don't go on a second date with someone that's not compatible with you. Avoid people who are closed gentlemen. If you watch my channel, it probably goes without saying, and I'm preaching to the choir, do not go on second, third, fourth dates, and let alone go to bed with them. You know that strange feeling you're feeling when you go to bed with a hot mess? That's not butterflies. That's not nervous excitement. That's your instinct saying, this doesn't feel right. Danger, Will Robinson. Once or twice it's happened, and it's been very rare, that a woman who has made mistakes, and a lot of guys would just dismiss her offhand, but if she can reflect on them and say, yeah, I did this wrong, I wasn't the best. In my past relationship, yeah, my ex was X, Y, and Z. But you know what? I wasn't completely innocent. I shouldn't have done this. I've learnt that next time I have to be more patient with this and that. That's actually refreshing. That's like someone who was an alcoholic and now they can reflect on it and confidently say, I haven't touched a drop of alcohol for 5 years or 10 years. I've been sober. And they can talk in a self-reflective kind of way, a way in which you can see, hey, we all make mistakes, but this person is being responsible. They are not negating their part in the past relationship. They're not negating their history, and they're letting you know about their whole life so you can trust them more going forward. You can't trust a zero from this point that refuses to talk about where they came from, the journey they've been on, who you're potentially going to bed with or having a relationship with. Also pay attention to the contradictions, because everyone on a date is going there because either your profile or something got you there in the first place. So you both want to be with each other. There's this forward-leaning optimism that this is going to be a relationship. There's this hormonal view that this relationship is innocent until proven guilty. What has she learnt? Can she be honest about it? And while many of you guys are nodding, let me bring you to a very important point that we should realize ourselves. Before you get on the date, before you start dating, before you create these train wrecks, ask yourself, why did you break up from your last relationship? And be honest about it. How much of it was your fault? How much of it was hers? I posted this specific question on my community tab on my channel. How much of the breakup was your fault? Now let's be honest here, and it's not to be kind to women. This is to be kind to yourself for the future. This is to be kind to your future attempts at dating. It's nothing to do with her. Was it all her fault? Was it mostly her? Was it a bit you? In these areas, it was definitely me. In those areas, it was definitely her. And this is a very important one. In which areas didn't you speak up? Because the things left unsaid are the things that haunt us the most. Not speaking up, I think, is the vast majority of guys' problems. Probably women's, but I'm talking to men now. I know it was mine, definitely was mine. Always too agreeable, excuse temper as, well, that's just the way she is. Ask yourself how much of it was your fault. I think asking this simple question of yourself first, so you have a really fair and open frame of reference that you have learnt from your mistakes, what you will not tolerate anymore, where your boundaries are, what you will always speak up about, and what kind of fits you now, and what kind of women are in your rear vision mirror. You're not wasting any more time with those kind of people. And then, when that becomes interesting and you've exercised that muscle enough, it becomes interesting in conversation when you're on a date and you ask her, so why did you break up with your ex? Because you think to yourself, I've been asking myself that question for a long time. It's very informative. And I want to be informed by you, by your answer, if you've got any. So let me know if you've ever thought about these very probing questions that the dating experts tell you to avoid on dates, to keep it all surface and lighthearted. Otherwise, you're never getting them into the sack. But at the same time, you waste time recycling people who don't even scratch the surface. As always, join, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video, guys. Bye.